The British designer Hussein Chalayan has explored a more conceptual response to flight in his aeroplane dress. It's made out of the same material as aeroplanes, and it has side and rear flaps that are operated by remote control. For Chalayan, speed transcends the notion of movement to become a symbol and ultimately a form to be developed. As with the Flash's costume, Chalayan's poetic representation of the aerodynamic body serves as a metaphor for freedom, efficacy, and progress. In the exhibition, the character of Mystique from the X-Men represents the mutant body. Because of their grotesque physical characteristics, mutant superheroes like Mystique have come to serve as objects of prejudice, intolerance, and oppression. In the worlds of comics, they have come to stand as signifiers of subjugated minorities, whether racial, ethnic, or sexual. As a site of commotion as well as contravention, the mutant body is coincident with the fashionable body. Not unlike comic books, fashion celebrates diversity and difference. And while fashion is known to be the progenitor of idealized and even tyrannical standards of beauty, it's also known to be fiercely critical of those standards, offering radical and frequently reactive alternatives. The British designer Alexander Mcqueen, shown here, has gained a reputation for destabilizing normative conventions of beauty. For Mcqueen, the body is a place where normalcy is questioned, where the spectacle of marginality is both embraced and celebrated. The same is true for Thierry Mugler, who uses the body to transgress corporeal boundaries, to pull the body past its margins and to bring into existence new forms of creation. This is particularly evident in his chimera dress, which is shown here, which is an intensely exaggerated visualization of a body in mutation. Mugler's hybrid possesses the segmented abdomen of an amphibian, the feathered crown of a bird, the iridescent scales of a fish, and the long, wiry hair of a mammal. It's a missing link that effaces the ontological distinction between human and animal. And in its catalogue of corporeal citations, the dress transcends sex, gender, and even genetics. Like the mutant bodies of the X-Men, it challenges us to open ourselves to the beauty of difference through a liberating embrace of the unfamiliar and unorthodox. The final theme in the exhibition is the postmodern body, and it's represented by the Punisher. In the 1980s, artists and writers of comic books employed various postmodern strategies like parody and pastiche to appeal to a more adult audience and to elevate the cultural prestige of comic books. The result was a rise in popularity of grim and gritty superheroes like the Punisher, an anti-hero with a dark, cynical, even nihilistic worldview. Unlike most superheroes, the Punisher was willing to murder his enemies, a threat made explicit by the death's head inscribed on his costume. The Punisher embodied the 1980s focus on death, a focus that finds resonance in the work of Alexander Mcqueen. And this knitted dress, in particular, mirrors the memento mori iconography of the Punisher's costume. The Ghost Rider was another anti-hero popular in the 1980s, and his skeletal frame and flaming skull quite literally literalized the Grim Reaper characterization of the Punisher. John Galliano pays homage to the iconography of Ghost Rider in this remarkable ensemble, as does Thierry Mugler in this motorcycle bustier. Adorned with skulls, hellfire, and other symbols of mortality, it embodies the semi-logical complexity that characterizes the postmodern body of both fiction and fashion, as well as capturing the darker terrors of our contemporary world. I wanted to end with this screen print of Superman by Andy Warhol, for those of you who might find an exhibition on superheroes anathema to the museum's high art standing. But it's precisely because of their populist origins that superhero comics have provided the context and subject of high art in America. Pop art's appropriation of the style of comics made both critics and viewers reconsider the graphic vocabulary of comics as an independent art form. When Warhol co-opted the figure of Superman, he treated the image with the same irony and respect he granted other mass-produced commodities. Like his Campbell's soup cans and his multiply reproduced photographs of Marilyn Monroe, Warhol's superhero imagery emphasizes that the main virtue of the superhero is an indelible and instantly recognizable iconic power. And it's really this iconic power that is a quality that is identified and exploited by the designers in the exhibition. Thank you very much.